Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, this is BestInSlot, and tonight we're going to talk about the Stegoceratops, one of the hybrid dinosaurs that didn't make it into the first film, despite making it into Jurassic World The Game, despite making it into the toy line, and despite having an amazing model made by this man named Bodin Sturber. If you want to check out his work, that's where all this comes from today. All the pictures that we're going to use, they come from his website. You go to BodinSturber.com and you'll see it as his latest blog post. He's a very, very talented man who did some work for Jurassic World, the first film, and we're going to take a look at a couple of the dinosaurs he did today, but really focusing on the Stegoceratops because it's a big deal. It's a hybrid, you know, it's the only other hybrid that we've really heard talked about for Jurassic World. Now, obviously, most of us realise that most of the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, well, all of them in the franchise history, are hybrids. Inherently, they're hybrids because they contain DNA from multiple different sources in order to exist. But there's a very clear difference between the Stegoceratops and the other dinosaurs. But interestingly for me, there's a very clear difference between the Stegoceratops and the Indominus Rex, the only hybrid that actually made it into the film, which is important. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But the Indominus, as it's an amalgamation of, say, 5 or 6 different dinosaurs and creatures all brought together, in terms of the design, it wasn't really beholden to a particular dinosaur shape. The Indominus kind of just looks like a general big, angry theropod. It doesn't really particularly look like one dinosaur in particular. There's a little bit of sort of T-Rex looking bits, and there's raptor looking bits, and Allosaurus looking bits, and cuttlefish looking bits. You know, it's a whole mess of stuff. The Stegoceratops is very clearly 2 dinosaurs jammed together in a kind of more of a, if you imagine Impossible Creatures, that RTS game, it's very much more like that, where it's got clear facets of just 2 dinosaurs put together into a fairly familiar shape, the Stegoceratops and the Stegosaurus. It's a cool model and it's a cool design, but I've got to say I'm quite happy they didn't add this to the film. Their reasoning behind it is solid, but I prefer my reasoning in that it's simply, there's something disconcerting about it, particularly for those of us, I guess, who are very much into our dinosaurs and such, which I imagine is most of you lovely folks watching this at home. There's just something off about it, you know? With the Indominus, you can kind of just pretend it's a new dinosaur. Okay, it's got lots of different dinosaur DNA in it, but it's a new, unique-looking creature. I don't even like the design of the Indominus, personally. We're going to talk about that in a video tomorrow. But compared to, I like the design of the Stegoceratops, but I don't know how I'd feel about having one wandering around Jurassic Park, you know? It is interesting to know, if we go back to this image, oh no, that's not it, I want this, no, I don't want that image, I've deleted the image I wanted. Okay, there is a third image, which I've accidentally deleted. It is interesting to note the similarities between the Stegoceratops in Jurassic World The Game and the similarities in the Bodin Sturber meant to be in Jurassic World Stegoceratops. They are basically the same creature. The horns are a little straighter in Bodin Sturber's, but even down to things like this aspect of coloration here in front of the beak, it's identical on both creatures. So obviously Ludia, the developers behind Jurassic World The Game, had access to these models, and potentially, we don't know this yet, but maybe some of the other hybrid creatures that Ludia designed for Jurassic World The Game, maybe some of those were also potential dinosaurs for the first film. It might be a little strange if they only had 2 hybrids. Maybe they wanted 3 or 4 or 5 and just maybe make them more of a background kind of thing to kind of integrate them more into the universe, you know, kind of. At the moment, in terms of hybridity, we have the Indominus. We didn't have a Stegoceratops roaming around the background. We didn't have anything else to kind of make us think, okay, hybrids are a big part of this universe now. People could feasibly think it's a one-off, you know, it was the Indominus and now we're going to go back to dinosaurs. People who follow the films know that is very much not the direction the series is going in, and there's going to be more and more and more hybrid dinosaurs, unfortunately. But that's just the way it is. Now, as to why the Stegoceratops didn't make it into the film, I'm going to read a quote here from Colin Trevorrow, the director of the first film. I do want to thank Jurassic Outpost, who let me know, well, they didn't let me know, but they updated their post, blah, 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 about all of this. And they gave us this Colin Trevorrow quote. This, by the way, up here, I haven't mentioned this. This is the Stegoceratops from Jurassic World The Game. You can see the similarities. Some people definitely thought Stegoceratops was a Triceratops Stegosaurus hybrid, but given the horns, given the beak, given everything about it, basically, it's very clearly a Stegoceratops. Anyways, quote, So this is from Colin Trevorrow. In an earlier draft, there was a scene where Chris and Bryce Dallas Howard, whoopsie daisy, come across another hybrid in the jungle. It informs them that Dr. Wu has been making other hybrids under her nose. Very much like, well, the InGen list of dinosaurs in the first film. In the third film. And Thingy, the kid, I can't remember his name, says, I don't remember that on InGen's list, about the Spinosaurus. Because the Spinosaurus was never on InGen's list. It's kind of a very similar kind of idea, where you've got the main dinosaur shown, you've got the list, and then you've got other sort of little experiments going on the side. Anyways, then my 6-year-old son watched Return of the Jedi and said to me, I'm going to do a child's voice, Dad, if Leia is also a Jedi, that means that Luke isn't unique. It was like, ha, okay. And for some reason I applied that to this other thing and felt like there could be only one hybrid dinosaur. The idea that there was more than one made it feel like... The idea that there was more than one made it feel less like the one synthetic among all the other organics, and suddenly it seemed entirely wrong to have it in the movie. I suddenly hated the idea, but the toy still exists as kind of a remnant, because Hasbro toys are locked a year out. So they were making the toys, and assumedly Bowden Sturber's work was done a very, very long time before we actually got to Jurassic World itself, and there was ideas of putting this in the film. I don't think I get the logic here per se. I can understand it, but I'm not sure I would go for it personally. The idea that there was more than one made it feel less like the one synthetic among all the other organics, but that's very much something they are pushing in the film anyway. And frankly, for most of us, again, when we talk about the ethics of dinosaurs in Jurassic Park and all this kind of jazz, the fact that they are not real dinosaurs keeps coming up. And it's been a running topic since the first film. You know, they were created in a lab, they have no rights. In the first book, that is mentioned at length. This isn't something new to the series that came in just because there happens to be hybrids now that are clearly hybrids, because the dinosaurs have always been hybrids. I'm getting into this a little bit too much. Right, so anyways, that's the reason the Stegoceratops never made it. There is one more image I want to show you, just to give a little credit to Bowden Sturber, because he does great work. He also did the Apatosaurus, which, now that I think about it, other than the raptors and the Mosasaurus and Rexy, is pretty much the only sort of dinosaur with proper screen time in Jurassic World. Oh, and the Dimorphodons and Pteranodons and such, the flyers. In terms of dinosaurs, Apatosaurus, Rexy, Indominus, raptors. There really wasn't much else. Anyway, Bowden Sturber designed, basically, 2 out of the 5 potential dinosaurs in the film, if you think about it. But he made a very cool, nice looking little Apatosaurus. I wasn't as convinced by the 3D model of the Apatosaurus, but it was bright in the middle of the day and not rainy. There's a reason that the T-Rex scene in Jurassic Park stands up so well now, and that's because it's dark and rainy and stormy, and it's a lot easier to make animatronics look good in that situation. But that's not anything against his lovely little Apatosaurus. So if you do want to see more from Bowden Sturber, go check out his website. I really do recommend it, and check out JurassicOutpost.com whilst you're there. I think that's it, folks. I think that's it. Bloody no, I talked for longer than I intended. Anyways, tomorrow we're going to be back. There's some new Indominus Rex concept art that's just came out. So I want to talk about how the Indominus Rex was developed, and again, a potential way that that could, in my idea, link into Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom when that releases next year. I am in the process of moving house at the moment, so these slightly shorter videos do help me out a little bit, so expect another one tomorrow, probably along with a flat tour or something like that. Thank you so much for joining me. As per usual, go give lots of love to Bowden and Jurassic Outpost, and I shall see you lovely folks in the next episode. And don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Yes, there we go, I got there eventually. Cheers, much love, as always. Bye-bye.